Thank you for staying with us. Justice has now come for the police officer, Drambi Vandi, who shot and killed a Lagos-based lawyer, Bolanle Raheem. A high court sitting in Lagos has sentenced Vandi to death by hanging for killing Bolanle on the 25th of December 2022 at the Ajah on the bridge in Lagos. In a ruling, the trial judge, Justice Birunke Harrison, convicted Vandi for one-count charge of murder. Let's share the story by TVC News Kemi Fola Adeyemo with you.
We must say that the judge has done exactly what he has been sworn in to do, which is the responsibility to deliver justice in good time. Justice delayed, we know, is justice denied. And in this case, justice has not been delayed, justice has not been denied, justice has been done. We're also calling on the Ministry of Justice to consider the Gafarus case, which is also a mandate of this subcommittee to ensure that justice is done.
The incident of the 25th of December 2022 would always and forever remain a tragedy to the Raheem family because it altered a lot of lives. The life of the deceased, the life of her husband, the life of her daughter, and the lives of several other people that loved her. However, justice has been served. Within the period of 10 months, the Honorable Justice Harrison has been able to deliver her judgment and has been able to ensure that justice has been brought to the forefront.
Judy, justice done less than 2 years. This was a story that's
10 months.
10 months.
Yes. When I saw that it was a woman that would preside over the matter, I was confident that justice would come sooner than later. And that is what we have seen. It makes the killing all the more painful when justice is delayed. It's extremely painful to lose a woman in her prime at a time when she was even pregnant. And I just hope that even if I expect that he will appeal, somehow policemen who take people's lives in our country are convinced that nothing will happen to them. Somehow. And we have a situation in which even when people get sentenced to death, the sentences are not carried out. I don't know what kind of country our own is. We keep shouting, justice must prevail. This thing. And when justice prevails, governors refuse to sign the
death warrants.
When governors even manage to sign death warrant, you'll be told another story. That, the gallows in the prisons are not in functional order. So how do we
senseless excuses
get the message across to people that, look, if you take a life, you will lose your own life in return? Because we see people who take people's lives. You say they should die by hanging. They do not die by hanging. They don't even die at all. So I don't know what the problem is. If we want to be like South Africa and some of the countries of the world that have abolished death penalty and opted for life imprisonment and all that, let us amend the laws. We can't have a situation in which people get sentenced to death and they will not kill them. Either out of cowardice on the part of governors or the ineffectiveness of the prison service, or is it correctional service that they call them now? I'm more familiar with the prisons. I don't like what appears to deodorize criminality. They say prison. When you hear prison, you that's not where you want to go. I'm not blaming those who have changed the name, but for me, I'm more comfortable calling that place
Prison service.
a prison. That is what it is. Whatever, just a matter of semantics, whatever we choose to call it, that is where criminals are kept. Criminals should not live with the rest of us. And where criminals are kept should not be given a name that appears to deodorize the place. You know? Apologies to people who may feel offended by what I say, but...
Are they prisoners or are they correctees? Because I don't really get it. Are they not, they can't be a prisoner.
Whether they are correctees or not, they are inmates. The word inmate puts them together. So that is what they are. It's unfortunate that we have this situation, but this senior police officer was clearly unrepentant. You know, he didn't get anybody to, he defended himself. There was no witness that stood in to defend him. He defended himself throughout. And he kept lying. Just kept, oh, the bullet that they brought back, I had never seen that bullet before. Ah, this was not my bullet. You know?
Wasn't so bad at all.
You've taken a life. You've taken a life. I know that a lot of people will feel relieved, but the greater relief will come when justice is served. Justice is only partially served now with the sentencing that has taken place. Justice will be served when that guy, on account of the offense that he has committed, has his life snuffed out. That is the real deterrence. The real deterrence is that. There is no deterrence in a situation in which he's kept in prison and people can still see him. Members of his family can still go there to see him because we refuse to kill them.
And the families of the victims.
And the families of the victims will continue to live in agony. And he will be there. After some time, maybe one governor will come and say, oh, because he's sober now, they will give him state pardon. That is what we face in our country. And that's why we keep breeding criminals, because somehow people believe that nothing will happen. I've seen policemen say, I will kill you and nothing will happen. We were coming from Ilorin, and he stopped us just before redemption camp. Our driver had refused to give any policeman a dime all the way from Ilorin, and it was a salad day. They kept asking him to give them money, he refused. Well, this particular one is as crazy as the craziest policeman you can encounter. He first said we should come down. Everybody come down. He showed us the scar on his head that it was a bullet that grazed his skull. And he said, you, give me money. We kept giving him the same kind of excuses that he had given others, that the vehicle belongs to a policeman like him and this and that. He said, I will slap you if you don't give me money. He gave him a slap. He was still reluctant to part with money. At that point, he threatened to kill him. I was the one who dashed forward, hugged him, and began to speak outside to him. Maybe he would have taken his life. I began to speak outside to him that, please now, don't do this. Forget him. Yes, he has done something wrong. You are right. It is you who is right. But don't take a life.
Ghana master.
Ghana master. He had his gun.
So you guys
you don't know.
No choice.
Yes, you don't know where he woke up from. You don't know whether he took
his mental state.
Inebriating stuff. You don't know. You can't argue with somebody who has a gun. You have to be lucky. There's no point arguing with somebody like that, or even threatening him that you will report to the governor.
Yeah. There's a saying.
Before you get a chance to report to the governor, you may have blown up your brains.
So, GKB now, at least for the family now, and look at the number of months involved and everything, I think, to me, it's a kind of relief.
Yeah, not only to the families, but also to anybody who believes in the rule of law. Because we've come to a point that is almost unheard of, that they will charge a policeman with murder. Usually it will be manslaughter, there will be mitigating circumstances that will be brought into the case and then before you know it, the thing will go away. Don't forget that even when the military killed policemen, it's very difficult for the civilian civilian authorities to get the police, to get the soldiers out to come and answer for these crimes. So anybody who wears a uniform and carries a gun assumes that it's above the law. And the system has reinforced that belief over the last 50 or so years. But I'm very glad this happened for two reasons. One, of course, the fact that I don't want to use the excuse that the victim was a lawyer. That was why the thing came very quickly. No. This should be able to happen to everybody else to get justice. Because you all know that in reality, once you are not part of the system, it's extremely difficult to get justice this fast. But having said that, we know that only 3 or 4 types of people that will join the military or the paramilitary agencies. Those who want to serve their country, those to whom it's a family tradition. Maybe their father was a policeman, their grandfather was a policeman. Those who simply don't have any job, and those who are truly psychotic. The man you met was truly psychotic. Because you can take a job because you have no job and still excel at it. But a man who stood his ground and said, no matter what anybody says, he's going to kill this woman. And he did. He's psychotic. I know we'll give excuses, the condition of the police, but you and I know police officers who are fantastic at their jobs, who are very reliable. The CP in Ogun State now, Alamutu, is one officer that is known in Lagos and Ogun State. The man that will pick your call and do what you want him to do. He will not pass you on to a subordinate. The officers like that. So because you know you will get justice by calling the CP, then you know the thing you deserve. Lots of them are at that level. But once you start moving down to inspectors, to sergeants, you run into a lot of problems that you cannot work. So for me, this is good news in many ways than one.
Jide, it's not only Drambi Vandi that we have in the police. We still have so many police officers that we need psychological or psychiatric evaluation, because what they do sometimes is just abnormal.
Ayo, I said something before. I don't know whether the police authorities did anything about it. When SARS was scrapped, and they were all told to report to Abuja, they took their urine samples. A good number of them tested positive for banned substances.
That's one thing.
Many Indian hemp smokers, they relate even the people that they should arrest.
Yes, they go to completed buildings together.
They join them in smoking.
That's like a...
They test positive. They tested positive for
substance
illicit this thing, you know? So, why won't they misbehave? Look at the one who slapped a man in front of his family. One Adejo, a policeman with, he had one funny beard, like this one ridiculous beard. He was serving in Port Harcourt. They've served him breakfast too by demoting him, you know? But he was just slapping the guy.
In front of his
Come on, in front of his wife. And how do you humiliate people like that?
Go inside.
He was an inspector. So was he an inspector, a sergeant or something? They demoted him. I can't remember his rank. I
have a caller from Lagos. Duro is calling us from Lagos. Oh, I think I lost.
He just kept slapping him. He just kept, Adejo, you know that he's from my state. He's one of our brothers in the east, Kogi East. Just kept slapping the guy. Come on, in the presence of his family. How do you diminish a man? What is his offense?
Just because of that gun you are holding.
Yes.
You think you are supreme.
Yes, you think you are superior to everybody. Yes. You know? People that in hand combat, you can't defeat them. But because you have a gun, come on. You see, some of the kind of people coming into the police have no business being in the police. Anybody with anger issues, he should not be in the police. And if he will be in the police, he should be far away from firearms. Keep him in the office. Let him be receiving people who come to lodge complaint at the police station.
And write reports, yeah.
Yes, don't give him a gun. It's not everybody that can handle weapons. People have anger issues. And now that things are tough in our country, it will be worse.
Umar is calling us from Kaduna. Thank you, Umar, for joining us.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Umar.
Yeah, this thing is happening in Kaduna also. Policemen slapping people. Hello. Good evening.
Yes, go ahead, please, Umar. You're live.
Yeah, this thing happened yesterday in my state, Kaduna. A policeman was slapping a woman.
A woman, Kuma?
In front of her family. Yesterday. Yeah, yesterday night. A policeman was slapping a woman.
Okay.
He was slapping a woman yesterday in front of her family. Yes. Yes, I witnessed it myself. I was a witness yesterday night.
That policeman should be reported. They have the...
You can see blood coming out from her mouth.
Abba. That must have been a dirty slap.
I wanted to even video it, and then he was threatening me. He was threatening me yesterday.
Thank you, Umar. Thank you for that contribution. I think we have to do something to reform, especially from the rank and file.
I think it's about time for us to return policing to those who are truly interested in doing the job. Like I said, a lot of people are simply want the power that the uniform bestows on them. They have neither the skills, the human relations. I thought there was a time police was trying to work with PR professionals to make sure that the face of the police is reflected in the lower ranks. Because like I said earlier, senior officers are fantastic people. Very educated.
This one too is a senior officer now. Yeah. This one was a senior officer.
So they come to a problem that you don't know.
Not all those senior officers too that are responsible. Yeah. Some of them are very irresponsible. This one too was a senior officer.
I know. But we need to reorientate the Nigerian police or return them to basics that we have to do. Because it's really getting tougher there. A lot of policemen are running small rings in their corner of the country to do whatever they have to do. I know a guy that was arrested from coming back from watching football. And they took all of them, took them to the police station. And they said they were using drugs. Luckily for the boy, it was an alpha who doesn't leave his father's house. So but when they saw me, I realized I was this program. They twisted the story, brought out a bottle and said it was what they caught on him. Luckily, the boy was alert enough to ask them to do drug tests. He said he's willing to do urine tests at that point. And I called his father. The father said, yeah, let him go ahead. Then they changed the story again. By the end of the year, we went through about 17 stories. And I told them I'll call the CP. And then you will have to explain to you what the job you are doing at that point in time. And they have to release all of them. So many atrocities we can name here. But like I said, the police relations department, or whoever is in charge of psychological training, whatever they call it for the police.
Psychological evaluation.
They have a big job to do. A lot of these people don't belong in the police of a civilized.
6 years ago, along the road, along the highway in Ekiti State, a policeman asked for bribe from a driver. Because the driver would not give him what he wanted, he shot and killed the driver in broad daylight. In broad daylight. And what happened? They dismissed him, but justice was not fully served because he ought to be put on trial. Yes. So that the same way he has caused a family to lose their loved one, his own family too will suffer the same fate. Yeah. But when you let them get away with it, they will do it again. They will do it again.
All right.